You love your friends. You genuinely want them to be happy, to succeed, and to thrive. So when your best friend calls you with exciting news, they got the promotion, they're engaged, they bought their dream house, you say all the right things. You congratulate them, you express your excitement, and you share in their joy. But after you hang up the phone, another, more complicated feeling begins to settle in. It's a quiet, sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. A subtle voice in the back of your mind whispers quietly, "Why not me?" The good news you were just celebrating suddenly feels heavy, leaving you with a confusing mix of happiness for them and a painful sense of inadequacy for yourself. If this experience feels uncomfortably familiar, you have likely asked yourself a deeply personal and often shame-filled question. Why do I feel a secret pang of envy when my close friends share their good news? This feeling can be incredibly isolating. It makes you feel like a terrible friend, a secretly resentful person who is incapable of pure happiness for others. But what if this reaction is not a sign of a moral failing? What if it is a deeply human and psychologically predictable pattern? You are not a bad friend for feeling this way. You are simply caught in the uncomfortable reality of friendship envy and silent competition. This is an invitation to explore why this happens, how to navigate the guilt, and how to transform this painful emotion into a powerful tool for your own growth. To understand this complex feeling, we need to view friendship envy as a specific form of social comparison. As humans, our brains are fundamentally wired to understand ourselves in relation to others. We constantly, and often unconsciously, measure our own progress, status, and abilities against those around us. This is a basic part of our social DNA. In most areas of life, this comparison is diffuse. We might compare ourselves to colleagues, celebrities, or strangers on the internet. But when the comparison is with a close friend, it becomes far more potent and painful. A friend's success can inadvertently act as a powerful spotlight, illuminating the areas in our own lives where we feel we are lacking. Their journey is similar to ours. Their starting points may have been the same. So, when they achieve a milestone you also desire, be it in career, relationships, or personal growth, it can feel like a direct and personal benchmark for your own life. Their success triggers your own deepest insecurities. Your brain doesn't just see their achievement, it sees the gap between their reality and your own. This is the first layer of pain, the raw feeling of envy and inadequacy. But what makes friendship envy uniquely difficult is the second layer of pain that immediately follows: guilt. The moment you recognize that you are feeling envious of someone you genuinely love and care about, a wave of shame washes over you. You start to judge yourself harshly. You think, "I should be better than this. A good friend would only feel happy for them." This guilt over having the wrong feeling is often more painful than the initial envy itself. It creates a secret internal conflict. You are forced to perform pure happiness on the outside while wrestling with a toxic cocktail of envy and shame on the inside. This is the silent rivalry, slowly, a competition you feel you are losing and a feeling you believe you are not allowed to have. Let's look at how this pattern shows up in our daily interactions. One of the most common manifestations is feeling a confusing mix of happiness and dread when a friend shares good news. Imagine you're having coffee with a friend who has just been offered their dream job. As they tell you the news, a part of you is genuinely thrilled. You know how hard they've worked for this. But another part of you feels a subtle dread. Your own career feels stagnant, and their success feels like a glaring reminder of your own inertia. You feel your smile become a little tighter, a little more forced. You're caught between your authentic love for your friend and the painful sting of your own insecurity. You leave the conversation
feeling emotionally exhausted, drained by the effort of holding both of these conflicting emotions at once. This internal discomfort often leads to a second pattern, subtly changing the subject or downplaying their achievement. This is an unconscious strategy to manage your own painful feelings. When your friend is sharing the details of their new relationship and it's triggering your own feelings of loneliness, you might quickly pivot the conversation. You might say, "That's amazing. Speaking of amazing, did you see that new movie that just came out?" Or you might try to minimize their success to make it feel less threatening. You might say something like, "Wow, a promotion? You must have just gotten lucky with that new boss." Or, "An engagement is great, but just wait until you have to plan the actual wedding." These are not malicious comments. They are clumsy, unconscious attempts to shrink their achievement down to a size that doesn't cast such a large shadow over your own perceived shortcomings. If the feeling of envy becomes too persistent or painful, it can lead to a third pattern, avoidance. You might find yourself subtly pulling away from friends who are in a particularly successful or happy phase of their lives. You might take longer to return their calls, or you might find excuses to miss social gatherings. This is not because you don't like them anymore. It is because being in their presence has become a constant and painful reminder of what you don't have. Their joy magnifies your own sense of lack. So, you create distance, not to punish them, but to protect yourself from the discomfort of the comparison. This, of course, creates a painful paradox. The very insecurity that makes you crave connection and validation is causing you to push away the people who could provide it. And finally, all of these patterns are wrapped in an intense feeling of guilt and shame. You tell yourself that you're a bad friend. You believe that your envy is a toxic trait that you must hide at all costs. You feel like a fraud, celebrating your friends on the outside while secretly competing with them on the inside. This shame is perhaps the most damaging part of the entire cycle. It prevents you from ever talking about the feeling, ensuring that you suffer in silence. It convinces you that your envy is a personal moral failing, rather than a universal human experience that is simply a signal from your own psyche. It is a pervasive myth that feeling envy toward your friends means you do not truly love them. We are taught a very simplistic story about emotions. Love and envy are opposites, and they cannot coexist. But human psychology is far more complex than that. It is entirely possible to feel a deep, genuine love for your friends, while also feeling a painful pang of envy at their success. The two are not mutually exclusive. The envy is not a measure of your love. It is a measure of your own unmet desires. It is not about them. It is about you.
Imagine a woman named Emily, whose close friend just bought her first apartment. Emily, who's struggling to save money, feels a surge of envy, so intense that it makes her feel sick. Her old pattern would be to feel ashamed, label herself a bad friend, and become distant. But this time, she tries something different. She allows herself to feel the envy without judgment. She recognizes it not as a critique of her friend, but as a piece of information about herself. The envy is telling her how deeply she longs for her own sense of stability and a place to call home. Instead of letting the feeling curdle into resentment, she uses its energy. She sits down and creates a realistic savings plan, a small, concrete step toward her own goal. The envy has not disappeared, but it has been transformed from a source of shame into a source of motivation. So, how can we learn to navigate this difficult emotion with more grace and self-compassion? The first tool is a practice from Buddhist philosophy called Mudita. Mudita is the concept of finding sympathetic or vicarious joy in the happiness of others. It is the opposite of envy. Crucially, mudita is not something you either have or you don't. It is a skill, a muscle that can be cultivated with practice. One way to do this is through a simple loving-kindness meditation. Find a quiet moment, close your eyes, and bring your friend to mind. Picture them in their moment of success. Then silently repeat a few simple phrases. Quietly, may you be happy. May you be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. As you do this, try to connect with the genuine part of you that does want these things for them. This practice may feel forced at first, but over time, it can help to quiet the voice of comparison and amplify the voice of connection. A second practical tool is a cognitive reframing exercise. Our thoughts shape our emotions. When we are caught in envy, we're often telling ourselves a painful story. The practice is to consciously and deliberately change that story. The next time you feel that pang of jealousy, notice the thought that comes with it. It is probably something like, "Their success makes me a failure." The exercise is to consciously and deliberately replace that thought with a more compassionate and empowering one. For example, you could try, "Their success shows what is possible and inspires me." Or you could try, "We are on different paths, and their timeline is not a judgment on mine." This is not about lying to yourself. It is about choosing to focus on a different and equally true perspective. You are shifting from a mindset of scarcity, where their win is your loss, to a mindset of abundance, where their light does not dim your own. A third, more reflective tool is to use journaling to understand the root of your envy. The envy itself is just the surface. Underneath it lies a deeper fear or insecurity. To uncover this, you can use a simple prompt. What am I afraid their success says about me and my own timeline? Write down whatever comes to mind without judgment. Are you afraid it means you're running out of time? Are you afraid it means you're not talented enough? Are you afraid it means you'll be left behind? By getting these fears out of your head and onto paper, you can begin to see them for what they are. Stories you're telling yourself, not objective truths. This practice allows you to separate your friend's reality from your own fears. Their success is just their success. The meaning you attach to it is where the pain lies, and that is something you have the power to change. Your envy is not a reflection of your love for your friends. It is a reflection of your own fears and your own unmet desires. It is a compass pointing directly to what you value and what you long for in your own life. When you treat it as a source of self-information rather than a source of self-criticism, you transform it. A painful feeling that once pushed you into shame and isolation can become a powerful catalyst for your own growth and self-awareness. This doesn't mean the feeling will vanish overnight, but it does mean you don't have to be controlled by it. You can learn to hold both truths at once: the genuine happiness for your friend's journey and the compassionate acknowledgement of your own. By doing so, you can build friendships that are strong enough to hold the beautiful, messy, and complicated reality of being human. What is one area in your life where envy might be trying to teach you something about your own desires?